Right. So hi everybody. Thanks for tuning in into the community call of September 2024. For those of you who join us for the first time, I'm going to introduce you to this call first. So if you're watching this from YouTube or from Airmo, you can actually participate in this meeting live by joining our Zoom. There's a link to the Zoom room in our agenda, or you can obviously just watch the live stream or watch recording later or on Air Mozilla or YouTube. There's a link to the form where you can submit a question. So if you're not attending this meeting live, you can submit your question through that form. There's also a community discussion thread where you can join or you can also post your question there. We have a back channel on Metrics. So if you are on Metrics, join us. You can also ask questions there on the Sumo Metrics room. There is also a link to our event page in the community portal that you can attend that I link in the agenda. And there's a link to our blog where you can learn more about Sumo. And there is a link to the contributor discussion where you can, participate on a discussion with other community members. And with that, let me jump into our first topic of the day, which is the product update. And I'll give the room to JR to verbalize the update for Firefox 130.
Yeah. All right. So for Firefox 130, definitely have a look at the release notes. I think we have a link for the release wiki down at the bottom, and this one at the top here is for Twitter, but also has a link to the release notes there. When it comes to desktop, what we had on deck was translations, expanding the language options to a whole bunch of different languages there, which you can see on that top line there. There's several additional languages that it's being expanded to. We also had some updates for Firefox Labs. So Firefox is now offering an easy way to try experimental features in the Firefox Lab settings page. There's some new tab content that was introduced as well, creating new articles. We created new articles and updated some in-product links for the new tab window. Instead of focusing solely on Pocket recommendations, content now includes other features around content availability in the new tab experience. We had some updates to PDF alt text tool, creating new articles focusing on the AI PDF alt text tool. You can see some links that are associated here if you want to check out some more information for viewing and editing PDF files, choosing other PDF viewers, or adding text and images in PDFs. And then there's some updates around the Windows error pop-up as well for desktop. So it looks like we published a new article to assist users around the incomplete or corrupt installation error message that they see come up, trying to provide more clear guidance and troubleshooting steps for them to reduce some frustration there. On the Android side of things, there were some updates around password generator. Android users can enjoy a more seamless experience and added ability to generate secure passwords directly from their devices. And there were some article updates there. And then there's a section here for some additional stuff on desktop. So FakeSpot in Suggest got an update as well. So the Suggest functionality that we have in the browser now will include FakeSpot. It'll appear in product-related queries, and as well as like best, well, we see some other stuff here. I'll let you guys read through that if you have questions for it, but they're doing some testing with this as well in product ratings and adjusted star ratings, because FakeSpot is basically used for review analysis. So it's an optimal place potentially as well to surface alternatives for users in terms of those products. And that's basically what we have. Again, definitely check out the release notes. Looks like most of the stuff was for desktop and Android this time around and not so much for iOS. But if you do have any questions about anything that's getting updated, definitely reach out to Kiki or Mandy, and we will follow up with you and get you some answers there.
One add on the translation feature, there's an additional like feature that we released this in this version too, which is a way to translate selected part of text when you already translate the full page into a different language. So let's say this is a bit confusing, but so let's say you already translated the whole page into Germany and then you want to translate that content in Germany into different language, it's now possible within Firefox. So yeah, it's a bit confusing, but it's a new capability that we released in this version. And on the new tab context, in new tab content, I will probably add more a bit of like context there. Historically, we only have like pocket recommendation in the new tab, but right now, with the like few recent releases, as you some of you may already know, we have like weather, like status in a new tab, and there's also like wallpaper and stuff. So we're gonna do more stuff in the new tab experience. That's why we create a new article for that. And with that, I think we are done with product updates. I also link the release wiki for Firefox 130 in the agenda, so you can look for more information there. And now we can move on to our main topic, which is Firefox Profiler. We already have Paul Aitnot here, who is a senior staff software engineer in the Firefox team. And he's going to talk more about Firefox Profiler and how you can use it to help troubleshoot Firefox performance issue. So yeah, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Paul.
Hi all. So it's my first time here, but I've been around for a very long time in the Mozilla community, about 13, 14 years, something like that. Always worked in media-related topics, video, audio, bit of images. And performance is something I care a lot about, and also easy debugging and characterization of problems. I spend a lot of time looking at Mozilla and trying to understand why something that shouldn't happen happens, or why something that happens shouldn't happen, like any way, shape, or form. Sometimes, yeah, we need to understand why. We used to be able to just log. To enable logging is really annoying. We have new ways to do that. I'll show that in a minute. That doesn't need anything to install or is very simple for anybody to use. We also have something that is not new, which is a Firefox profiler, but it's similarly easy to use. The Firefox profiler, well, it's a profiler, right? So profiler allows to measure and record the performance of an application, right? That's a generic software engineering term. However, the Firefox profiler is really has a few tricks up its sleeve, right? So it can be used effectively to diagnose problems, which are immediate. At first glance, they are not performance related, right? So it's not like you click on something and the thing doesn't happen, right? There is no freeze, there is no frame drop on the video, there is no it's not immediately performance raised, right? But it logs so much information that very often it allows a developer to understand what went wrong. The real power of the Firefox profiler is that it's extremely easy to share what you just recorded. You don't need anything but a Firefox. I think sometimes it's easier to show. So I am going to attempt to share my screen and demonstrate the Firefox profiler, but I think the screen needs to be unshared and I can share mine. Okay, I will share my entire desktop because I will show the slightly different behavior of Firefox nightly and Firefox release, right? We know that in the community, lots of people use both for good reason. Also in beta is similar to release, I believe. So let's imagine I'm on my nightly, like the one I use every day. And let's imagine I have a performance problem, right? That's easy. I'm gonna get a video, like a regular video, load it into my Firefox nightly. It's playing right now. Okay, easy. I want to understand the performance. Let's say it's not fluid, right? It's I mean something is off, right? So what I can do is I can go to profiler.firefox.com, and there's going to be a button here. I'll show you in a minute. That's going to add this button here, right? You don't need to install an extension. You don't need to do anything. And here, I can click here while it's playing, while the problem is happening. I select one of those items. So web developers pretty generic, nightly is pretty generic, graphics when like animation is too slow or wrong. Media is for media playback, like I'm doing right now. I'm going to choose that. Networking is when networking goes wrong, either performance or correctness. Power is when you think your battery is being sucked by something. Debug, I have no idea what it is. And custom is for advanced usage, usually when a Firefox developer instructs you to do something in particular. So here I'm going to pick media, okay? I'm going to start recording. It's recording right now. Can dismiss this. We see the icon has changed, like here. Let's say I've captured enough, right? Usually you need a few seconds. You really need to reproduce the problem. So if we are talking about video not being played back correctly, it could be like little frame drops, stutters, things like that, right? It opens a new tab when it's recorded, and it opens a big web app like that. It's just a web app, right? It hasn't downloaded anything. It hasn't uploaded anything at the moment. Everything is local, okay? We are waiting for symbols from libzool. That's if you want to dig into it yourself, but usually as a user, you don't want to do that, right? So what you can do is ask the user to give the profile to a Firefox developer or someone that can understand the profile, right? It could be another community member that knows how to drill into those. So you click on this, upload local profile on the top right. And here, you'll see the one thing that is different from Nightly and Release. On Nightly, all those little boxes are ticked by default, right? So all the information are in the profile. Obviously, it can be anonymized pretty heavily, right? So remove all URLs, remove extensions, remove the time range. Like if you select a time range like that, imagine you can zero in on some particular time. You see the time at the top, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds. You can zero in into a particular region of time when you think the problem happened, and you can upload only that region or the entirety of the profile. You can also choose to download the file and send it privately to a Firefox developer or someone else, right? If, however, you decide to upload it, you simply click the upload button like that. And there is a little progress bar as usual. And it gives you a small and easy link, right? Share.firefox.dev and then some hash that is hard to guess. You can then simply open a new tab. Imagine I'm now on the machine of a Firefox developer. Let's say I just got sent this link by a user or another community member or a colleague, actually. Lots of time that happens. I can simply load this. So it will download this 35 megabyte profile that was compressed. And I will have exactly the same information on my side, right? So here, as a media developer, I will probably go into this particular thread. I will have lots of little markers here. I know each time we decoded an audio buffer, we schedule to paint a video frame. Here I can go on YouTube, try to understand what's going on with their JavaScript and CSS animation. You can really zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. It's almost infinite, right? Everything is there. For example, I see here, I attempted to render something. It took 1.2 milliseconds. For that, that looks appropriate, 1.2 milliseconds. But imagine it could be 2 or 3 seconds, and a graphics developer would know this is where to look, right? So the workflow for a person that doesn't know much about Firefox, just wants to report a performance problem or a problem, I'm going to show it on a regular Firefox that doesn't have the profiler, right? This is a completely fresh Firefox that I just installed for this demo. The entire workflow would be as such. You go to profiler.firefox.com. I don't want to translate. In fact, let me redo that because I had enabled the profiler. So let me restart that. So if my Firefox is all fresh, I will have this button right here, okay? I can click and immediately it adds it to my bar here, right? and see it's all translated. I'm French. My Firefox release is in French, it's all nicely translated, so it should be approachable. Then I can play this here. I do the same here, and I click the one that suits the best. Usually, I mean, you can make an educated guess. If you don't know, you use the second one, Firefox, or if it's really graphics related, the second one, if anything is playing multimedia, right? Or called media in English. We've got those translated, so it should be easy for the person in their native language. And then the same, you upload, you click media, you record, gonna do a short one, you capture. See, it's extreme. If the profile is very short, it's super quick. And then see, it's all translated here as well, so people can't get lost. Top right, and here it's not ticked, right? Very often Firefox developer would like those ticked if it's not a privacy problem. You can also instruct the people to hide particular website. So they can go here and untick various processes. You see the URLs here. So if the person is really privacy conscious and we really want the info because they have captured the how to repro problem, then that can be an option, right? So we can mitigate the privacy problem. Sometimes we also offer to send the profile directly to us. It's easier when you have an @mozilla.com address to offer, right? If anything is media related and you find someone with a problem, I have an open and standing offer to send any profile to me at padnotes@mozilla.com. Very happy to always look at profiles. I like my stuff to work well. So if it doesn't, I'd like to know. So that's one side of the Firefox profiler, okay? That's for performance problems. Obviously, the Firefox profiler can be used by web devs to understand why their website is slow, but that's a bit outside of the scope here, and there is ample documentation online on the profiler.firefox.com, and then there is documentation here, lots of interesting bits and tutorials and all that, right? Something that is a bit more important for Sumo in particular, and that I did not too long ago, is about logging. So I'm going to open a new tab from this Firefox, and I'm going to do about logging. And I'm going to go on my nightly because it's going to be in English. I don't think lots of people read French here. So it's a new logging manager that I added to Firefox. It uses the Firefox profiler, but logs a lot more information, right? So let's imagine I have a networking problem. I don't exactly know why, but something looks off. I can set networking here from this dropdown. See, there is more presets made by developers themselves with the exact set of modules. Let's imagine, yeah, I've got a cookie problem, like something is like I get logged off continuously or whatever. Okay, I select this. That handpicks various profiles specifically taken, written down by our network people. I can do set log module. It says currently enable log modules. So that tells me I'm right. Okay, so that's fine. I can start logging. Then let's say I'm gonna go and reload a certain page, like the one that apparently logs me out each time. I'm reloading it multiple times to make sure I've captured it. I can go back to the logging manager, stop logging, and it's gonna do something extremely similar. Open a Firefox profiler tab. However, this time it's gonna have extra information based on what was picked in the dropdown. You don't really need to know where the information is. For curious people, the information will be here and in the markers table. And if you type log messages, you're gonna have all the log messages here. For each process, each thread, etc. It's gonna be quite nice. So we have made a few custom profiles, networking, cookies, WebSockets. I think it's self-explanatory. WebRTC is a big one. Whenever you have a problem in WebRTC call, what you can do as well, and that's explained in the documentation that I will link out, is a Firefox developer can tell you to load a very particular URL, right? So I've got an example here in the Firefox developer documentation. This is a long about logging but you can copy paste, you don't have to touch it. And that's a custom one that doesn't match any of our presets. Let's say I've got a particular problem and I really need this user to log particular module. I just tell the person to do enter, and that auto configures the page, right? So it's almost completely blocked. You cannot change anything. Here, it's all disabled. I can't click. But the Firefox developer might have given you a very specific log module set, right? Once that's not included in any default. The only thing the user can do is start logging and stop logging. So there is minimal room for error. And so it should be easier for folks that are less technically inclined to give us good information so we can reproduce or at least understand the problem a bit better on our end. So that said, almost always there's a good preset. If there's none, any of the regular Firefox profiler preset, usually they work. The nightly one or the Firefox one works well. It's very wide. It's kind of a shotgun strategy, right? You don't know what you're looking for, so you log a bit of everything, try to capture something. So yeah. So when you have whether you have a profile done with this little widget or start logging, stop logging with this about logging page, in the end, it's the same thing. You upload the profile or you save it locally and you give it to the Firefox developer or community member that can drill into it or further triage it or whatever. Very often we ask those to be attached to bugs. The links are persistent, right? They will not expire. We have lots of storage, so that's fine. Sometimes the profile is a bit too long, and so it's a bit too big, in which case we can ask to restrict the time by simply dragging like that. So you can drag a time region. Let's say you've reproduced in the later half of this, then you can simply get roughly half of it like that, 10 seconds out of 20, and you can re-upload or upload, right? And it will tell you, okay, so the size is now a bit smaller and it's going to be under the, I think it's 100 megabyte limit for long ones. So yeah, so if I don't include the hidden time range, it should be around like maybe 20 or 17, so half of it roughly. And no, not really. So yeah, that is a rough introduction to the Firefox profiler to diagnose Firefox problems, whether they are performance or not. It's the same tool. There's two ways to use the tool. One way can be a bit more approachable, doesn't require to go into the customized menu and all that, doesn't require, it's all in all Firefox release, including ESR. Just go to about logging and like find something somewhere here and get going, right? Or copy and paste what your friendly Firefox developer told you to copy and paste because they might have picked very, very specific log modules that are completely obscure to understand a very particular problem. So yeah, I think that covers most of it, but happy to take questions if there is a question immediately. Please, Gia, yeah.
Question?
Yeah, I always have questions after stuff like this because I like asking questions. I am curious. I have so many questions in my head right now. I'm going to try and whittle them down and make them make sense. One, I constantly hear from the side about YouTube issues, people having various YouTube issues. Would you suggest that in most cases, when people are complaining about YouTube media playback issues, that this profiler logging would be a good idea to try and capture?
Yeah, very much so. In fact, we've recently retuned the presets that we see here in media playback to diagnose specific YouTube issues because we see them, right? We're attempting to fix them. Some of those are caused by YouTube, some of those are caused by us, obviously. It's not a one-sided thing. The issues can be extremely wide-ranging, whether it is hardware acceleration, some problem in the actual media file, bugs in Firefox, bugs in YouTube. Yeah, could be various things, but please, yes, media playback is the appropriate one. We've recently changed it so that it works extremely well for YouTube, but it works for most media sites. If it doesn't, we'll change it again. What is important though is to capture the problem, right? So you start the profiling, you attempt to reproduce the problem. Let's say it's buffering indefinitely. Then you want that in your captured range. Doesn't have to be long. As long as you capture it, it's good, right? As easy as that. The problem sometimes is reproducing the problem. Sometimes they are quite elusive. But yeah, so yeah, YouTube bugs, but any media site, Netflix, whatever.
Gotcha.
If it's video conferencing, however, we have a specific one here, WebRTC, right? So
Gotcha.
that has video and audio, but it's not playback, so we have a special one.
Gotcha. Two more questions, and they hopefully will be quick.
Sure.
One, a serious one, and one a not serious one at all. For the serious one, when it comes to getting these kind of logs, what are the most common issues that your team has to deal with where these logs would be of a benefit to provide to you?
The one thing is when we can't reproduce ourselves. That could be a number of reasons. The obvious reasons, we can't have access to the site. Even with a VPN, let's say it's an intranet, or it's behind a subscription and we don't have, like, it's private stuff, it's geo-blocked, it's like whatever. Sometimes we can't have access, so I mean the only way is to get logs. Sometimes you need specific hardware to reproduce, right? If it's a hardware acceleration bug, I don't have the exact graphics card, I don't have the exact driver version, no way for me to repro. However, if we have logs, we will have everything, right? That associated to about support that has all the versions of and hardware, that's very powerful. And sometimes just speed. Sometimes you give me a profile, you can repro. I won't spend 1 hour to try to repro, and maybe I won't be successful. Sometimes I see the profile, I see immediately what's wrong. Like, it's very obvious. Sometimes it's a head scratcher, right? But sometimes it's very easy to. So we've made it easy to record profiles. So yeah, it's
Awesome.
and also a note that I should have said, this doesn't work right now on Android, but that's on my list this half. I am implementing it in a few, I don't know, weeks, maybe 1 month or two.
Awesome.
It should be similarly easy to do. The one thing I would like to stress, however, is to upload the profile or give it to the Firefox profiler and not copy paste from the tab bar, because we see that often. And that's the local data and we don't have it, right? And also tick all the boxes I said. Modulo the privacy, right? That's to be balanced against privacy, but tick the boxes. Otherwise, we don't have the information we need.
Awesome. Very last question is super simple and super silly. I'm obsessed with your vertical tabs right now. Are you using the Firefox Nightly with the new tab implementation, or what add-on are you using?
Not on this computer. I'm on my MacBook. On my Linux computer at the office, I use our new one, and that's an extension called Sideberry. Firefox extension called Sideberry. But hopefully in a week or 2 weeks, when it's been polished a bit more, I will switch to the new one to help dog fooding it. But I'm using it on desktop already, on my big Linux desktop. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Awesome.
It's pretty
Great
good. Very, very, very welcome, this edition, I find.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm prepared.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all from me. If anybody else has questions they want to surface, please surface them now.
I'm going to stop sharing now.
From the room? Anybody? Otherwise, I can ask the questions that we get in from the forum. The first one is, does Profiler collect any PII? Is there any PII information in the data that we send in Profiler?
Can you hear us, Paul?
Sorry? No, I did. Can you do it again?
Yeah, go ahead, Kiki.
Yeah, there's a question that we get from the forum submission about is there any PII collection that the Profiler does?
Yeah, So it will log. So I try to make it clear, but I can show it again, right? So for example, here we will see there is youtube.com I've written. So I mean that's something. It doesn't say which video though. As you can see, we don't have we trim at the URL here. If there was extension stuff here, I don't see any. Yeah, maybe there is. Yeah, here. Here there is uBlock Origin that I've installed on this profile. So that also, if you have rare extension, that could be identifiable. What else is there? But don't fret because if you go to re-upload here, you can untick here. Include
They
you
want to
can
reshare
untick.
your
Yeah,
screen.
oh,
Oh,
sorry, I need to reshare this.
yeah.
Yeah, this. Sorry, so I'm redoing. So if we drill into the information, we can see here, we see that I have uBlock Origin installed on my Firefox. Here we see that this is a YouTube tab playing, and we see lots of information about like what version of the player that was, etc. And then, but you can re-upload and untick those here. So remove extension, remove URL. So it will just say some URL, it was the page or it was an extension. It wouldn't be telling what page or what extension, right? And in other presets, not the media one, you can have screenshot of the page, which you can untick here. The screenshot is just going to be of the Firefox and not the entire computer. So that could include, yeah, whatever. So you untick this, untick this, untick this. They are usually not needed to diagnose. However, the first one is very often needed to diagnose, and the second one probably not. I don't care. But the first one is the one I care, and that doesn't have PII. Obviously, PII is a spectrum, right? So it has what code Firefox has executed during the time period. So it depends on how you define it. But yeah, so URLs, some URLs and some extension is the two big ones I can think of right now. But we made it so you can just trim everything out. So
Okay. Um, I guess the next question, does the profiler or about logging work? Well, this you already have answered this. Work the same way on Phoenix and Firefox iOS. I don't think that it works for iOS. No.
no, it doesn't work for iOS because it's
Mm-hmm.
not our tech, right? It's Apple's.
Mm-hmm.
It will work. Well, it work in some capacity on Firefox for Android, but it's too hard, right? So a regular user won't be able to do it. I will have something ready soon, and I will publicize it in the usual channel. So in particular Sumo, because that's going to be very nice
Mm-hmm.
to characterize some bugs. But yeah, not really yet. We have a way to do it, but it's like super convoluted with a bunch of steps and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
lots of room for
Okay.
error.
Cool. I want to check one more time from the people in this room. Is there any other question? Otherwise, I also have questions. Okay, I can ask mine. So the first one is, so when you capture the profile, is it only capturing the specific tab, or is it capture all the tabs in that window?
Yeah, good question. It's going to capture everything the Firefox does. So that's going to be all the
Mm-hmm.
tabs, all the utility process that we're using. We have a bunch of different processes: GPU process, network process, audio, and all
Mm-hmm.
that, decoding. So it's going to capture everything because we don't know what the problem is. Okay. But
I see.
if I can share my screen again, let me check. I can show how to untick, right? So if I don't want to share anything but YouTube, I can untick those, okay? And I can see I've got a bunch here. I could share Hilton.com. I was booking a hotel just earlier, so I could check this Hilton. By default, it was unchecked. But if I have a YouTube problem, I think it's better to check those right? In the YouTube under YouTube here. And then what I can do is to re-upload here, and I do not tick hidden threads here. If I do not tick that, only the ones that are present here will be uploaded. So that will be utility process, that is like some internal stuff, remote data decoder. I mean, it's decoding video, right? So that's right. And YouTube. So only what you can see here will be uploaded if you do not tick these hidden threads. If you do tick it, everything that is hidden, so the 417 will be uploaded. All right, so it should be pretty clear. So you can dial your privacy using those five ones. And then another dial would be to send privately to the Firefox developer or upload it and post it publicly to, let's say, Mozilla or whatever.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for answering that one. My next question is around another like trending topic that is quite popular among the community about memory leak issue.
Yep.
So in that case, can we use Firefox Profiler, or is it better to use like about memory or about processes?
So a bit of both. I'd say about memory is very useful. It has information that the Firefox Profiler doesn't. However, the Firefox Profiler makes it easy to understand graphically what's going on, right? Because I still have my screen share, yeah. So if you see here memory, I can see memory utilization over time. See here, I was probably looking at a YouTube video, and YouTube has probably downloaded like the next part of the video, so memory increases, right? That's normal. But here we had played some of the video, right? So it's pruning what is in the past because we don't need it anymore. So it's a sharp drop in usage. And then because I'm continuing to play, it's increasing and then dropping and increasing and dropping, etc. That's what you want to see in a video playback. It's increasing, dropping. That's normal. If you have a memory leak, you will probably see this increasing, and never dropping, right? In which case, yeah, that's pretty nice. We can understand easily in association with other views. We can very often understand what's going on. Okay. About memory is a different view. It has no temporal component. It's just a big summary of what's been allocated. So if you have both, even better. About processes, if I can show it, you can actually you can profile from about. So if you see, I've got this big, what do I have? This big GitHub tab. I don't know, it's gobbling lots of memory. You have this little one here is going to process only this process for 5 seconds, right? And then immediately open a Firefox profile with everything, and then same deal, upload whatever. I mean, you know from now on how to deal with that. But so yeah, it depends. As always, you can use both. You can use everything if you know what you're looking for. Maybe yeah, you can profile 5 seconds if you can catch the problem in those 5 seconds. Good for you. Sometimes it's a bit more tricky. But yeah, performance profiling plus about memory, all good. I mean, the more info you give, the better, really. I think it's fairly understandable. Close
Cool.
more tabs.
Thank you. I think that answered my question.
Cool.
Cool. Is there any other question? We're actually running out of time, but Josh, you have question?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, first of all, thank you, Paul, for sharing this presentation. It's really, really cool to see this feature. I know that it's early days for this, but I wonder about how we might help less tech savvy users to not just use the tool, but even like enter into the tool like workflow in the first place. does the team, does the Firefox team have ideas about like how we might approach that?
Yeah. So I try to do about logging as a way to be simpler.
Mhm.
Right. So you don't really need to understand what is a Firefox profile or the profiler. Usually I have good success on Reddit and Bugzilla when I say go to about logging, do this, like simple 3-line instruction. My success rate is very high to get good data back. In the past, it was abysmal. I could never have because the instructions were simply too complex. Myself, I was always forgetting one step and not getting information for myself good enough, right? So that tells you something. About logging is pretty good. I will always welcome UX improvement suggestions. All right. I am a systems programmer. I don't do UX. I've had a UX help on that by Firefox frontend guys and girls, but I'm simply not a front-end person. So if you feel that people are confused by anything, then by all means, just file a bug, CC me or ping me directly or whatever. I don't care. Just contact me some way. And then we can talk through it, right? And make sure it's a bit better for that particular person. And so the next time is going to be easier. Okay. It's not early days for the Firefox profiler. It's early-ish for about logging. Some months here, I don't remember, old. But it is early in the sense that it has not changed a lot since I shipped it, right? It's been useful. There's not been critical requests for improvement or any of those, right? People have seemed to just adopt the tool and use it successfully. But yeah, always let me know. Happy to have a chat because with your expertise of guiding people to diagnose stuff that I don't have, we could make it a bit better, probably. But so far, so good. I want to say. Maybe I'm lucky, but
Well, you're
Cool.
talking to the right person. Josh here
yeah.
is our yeah, Josh here is our UI UX designer on the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. I know we're over time already, so I would say like thank you so much, Paul, for coming into this community call. I would say like
Welcome.
this is super informational and insightful, and I'm glad that one a reminder for everyone here who's watching this from Airmo or YouTube to fill out the feedback form that we have in our agenda, so that we know how to improve our call in the future. With that, thank you all for coming into this call, and I'll see you on the next one next month. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.